Hello there. Welcome back. This is the session for KNX IoT Services in practice. And thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about with over 500 manufacturers offering a vast array of products and services, the KNX system provides unparalleled choice. In this session, we're going to spotlight practical applications of KNX IoT services. We're going to discover innovative methods to implement KNX installations that go beyond traditional approaches, showcasing real-world examples and forward-thinking solutions. So I'd like to introduce my next speakers. We have Jesus Arias, Membership and Business Development at KNX Association, and Xavier Iglesias, CEO at QMUX. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks a lot. All right. So, yeah, this is a great pleasure being here today presenting this KNX IoT services in real a real installation. And yeah, this journey starts 3 years ago with the foundation of the KNX startup incubator. So, yeah, let me take you through a tour about our experience with this incubator, and I'm going to show you a presentation that shows what we have accomplished over this 3 years. And as well, I will give the presentation to Javier Iglesias, the CEO of Kumux, who's going to show us what we did together a few weeks ago, which is really exciting. So let me start with the startups. Why we decided 3 years ago to open a startup incubator. I would like to start with or reflect based on a personal experience, a personal adventure that took place in 2014. What you can see is a Google Earth screenshot of an area called Cederberg, which is in South Africa. So in 2014, I decided to cross this mountain region over 6 days with my bicycle on my own. And this area is actually a leopard sanctuary. It's a beautiful, as you can see, well, I'll show you a photo now. It's really, really stunning. In this last day, you can see the actual elevation gain of the terrain. Over 80 kilometers. There are nearly 2,000 meters of elevation gain, which is already quite a challenge for someone traveling alone with panniers full of weight. But I was a bit naive, maybe. I thought I could do this on my own. This is actually a real picture of this area. You can see these patterns in the mountains because this was actually the bottom of the sea some thousands of years ago, which means that in many areas the soil is actually very thin sand, and that made my journey extra complicated. So the reason why I'm sharing this experience with you is the only reason why I finished this adventure is not because I did it on my own. Along this very tough day, which took me 14 hours to accomplish, I got help from 4x4s driving through these, wandering through these beautiful areas. I came across farms who gave me water that day was over 50 degrees Celsius. I drank, I don't remember how many liters of water, but sure, something I could have not carried myself from the starting point. So I got help of incredible people along the journey. So as they say in this African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So this is the actual reason why we started this startup incubator. Startups are incredible. I've met now quite a few founders of these of the startups, and of course they have this journey ahead of them, full of adventures, but also a lot of challenges, and they cannot do it by themselves. So our startup incubator is an oasis for these startups to find resources, to find clients, to find investors, but to also to belong, to have the feeling of belonging to a real worldwide community, which that's KNX. So also we win here. It's not that we are helping the startups. Of course, we are helping them, but we are also winning here because startups are the forefront of innovation. In this book that you can see now in the presentation, Anti-Fragile from Nassim Taleb, well, he reflects a lot into how important is to start things, so startups, and he mentions that sophistication is born of hunger. Startups are hungry and they want to innovate, and they want to be the early adopters of everything. So we learned that startups are the perfect company profile to become the early adopters of our KNX IoT ecosystem. We've been working over the past 4 years in extending the ecosystem of the KNX technology, and is known as KNX IoT. So this was a perfect marriage, or a pairing, like they say, with wine and food. We've been in the market for 34 years. We come up with an extension of our ecosystem, which is totally new, is according to the latest trends, is a IPv6. It is something totally new for our ecosystem. So with the help of the startups, as I'm going to show you now, we got early adopters of this technology, and we could prove to the world what it can be achieved with KNX IoT. So the KNX incubator 3 years ago was this, a white canvas. There was nothing. We started with a blank page, and then we decided that we wanted to extend our community. We have already a beautiful community from members, manufacturers, training centers, user clubs, national groups, test labs, partner system integrators. There's a lot of already profiles in our community. So we don't take it lightly when we add a new profile. So we extended also our community with this new profile, KNX Startup. So 3 years later, we have this beautiful mosaic of companies that are making this dream real, true. We have partners that are assisting us with providing valuable resources to our startups, like training. We have service providers. They are providing very valuable and interesting services to our startups with very good discounts. And we have sponsors that are assisting with KNX equipment, so our startups can have test benches to play with, which normally are expensive for them to buy. So we got this beautiful ecosystem where startups are nurtured within our community. Of course, we as KNX Association, we give them exposure. We assist them with the technical development. We help them to enjoy the networking opportunities within our community. We bring them to flagship events like CES Las Vegas or the IoT Solutions World Congress. So we have right now 20 startups which are adopting KNX IoT in their solutions, either application software solutions or hardware. So a few highlights before Javier Iglesias, CEO at KNX, shares with us what we did together a few weeks ago. I mentioned that the KNX ecosystem has been extended with KNX IoT, and this is a total new ball game for our community, for our industry. We've been successfully delivering devices over twisted pair and radio frequency for 34 years. And this is a great foundation with nearly 9,000 certified products that pretty much cover any application in the home and building industry. Yet, we wanted to step up and bring KNX natively into the IP ecosystem. So while maintaining our core values of interoperability, vendor independent, and one configuration tool, the ETS software, we extended our ecosystem, enabling IP as a physical network layers for KNX devices. So that means that since March 2024, where the rollout starts for this ecosystem with all the tooling and resources available for manufacturers and developers, you will see in the market very soon devices that use Ethernet, Wi-Fi, or thread mesh network as a communication medium, while being fully compatible and interoperable with the existing portfolio of KNX devices. So this is a total new ball game. Also, we standardize an API. So with a new information model, the KNX information model, KNX IoT API servers, which now is the first time we certify servers at this level, offer an API so third-party providers like KNX can offer their services and applications without any KNX knowledge. And this is crucial because there is a plethora of companies which want to offer services and solutions using or leveraging the KNX infrastructure, but they don't want to learn the details of the KNX protocol and the specifications. Instead, an API standard sets an abstraction layer for these companies to offer their services and applications. So a few examples. We have one of the startups, SolarEnergy. They have solar shutters which produce energy, and they have a controller for these shutters. It's twisted pair based, but the full visualization is accomplished by means of the KNX IoT API server. So becoming an API client of this server. And it only makes sense for companies who want to now create these visualizations and anything on top of the KNX infrastructure, that they use the API standard approach. We have also another startup that has been with us from the beginning, SimLab. They make these beautiful digital twins, 3D based software that is really, really stunning. And they also connect to the KNX installation by means of the KNX IoT API server. So in a matter of seconds, they query the API server that is connected to the KNX installation. They can pull all the available controls like lighting, HVAC, shutters, and so on. And they can populate the 3D digital twin with those available controls. So this is also really impressive and shows the power of the KNX IoT. We have other companies like another startups like Alorado, which are working in the domain of LoRa technology together with KNX. They have an Ethernet-based server where they are also working on the deployment of the KNX IoT router. What is the KNX IoT router? Is an interface that makes possible the connection between KNX twisted pair and radio frequency devices and IPv4 with the new KNX IoT devices. Or Inbiot is a recent startup. They were with us at the IoT Solutions World Congress. They have a Wi-Fi based indoor air quality sensor, very sophisticated, really advanced, and they are now working on providing this device, but as a KNX IoT device over Wi-Fi. And this can be realized thanks to the new open source stack that we offer to the KNX IoT ecosystem. So this is also something very new. It's a novelty in our ecosystem. We never offered an open source stack before, and now this is a reality for the KNX IoT ecosystem, which is accelerating the adoption of KNX, especially by those manufacturers that don't need to change their hardware in order to make a KNX device. So a few comments about the tunnel project that Javier is going to talk about. We collaborated with Kumux and other KNX members, the sponsors of our incubator, in order to set up a real installation from infrastructure to service. Everything fully secure with the KNX secure, KNX data secure at twisted pair level, KNX IP secure at IP level. We utilize the KNX IoT API server proof of concept that we have available at the KNX Association. And we put up together this amazing installation that people could experience during this 3 days event. We have made a brochure that is going to be a flyer that's going to be available very soon on our website that explains the whole installation, the target, what it did, how it was done, and the products that were used from the KNX infrastructure, the LED drivers, network equipment, and of course, Kumux service. So thank you very much for listening to this story, another successful story in the history of KNX, but most importantly, a new profile in our community, the startups, which are doing amazing things for us.
Thanks, Jesus, for explaining more about the KNX IoT services. We're here trying to explore the practical applications of IoT services, discovering innovative methods to implement KNX installations. And I'd like to introduce our next guest. Our next guest is Xavier Iglesias, who is the CEO of Kumux. Kumux is a very interesting company involved in smart lighting and someone that has been participating in the KNX ecosystem for IoT services. Hi, Xavier. How are you today?
Very good, Bob. It's good to meet you. Thank you so much.
It's nice to meet you as well.
Go ahead.
Well, I understand that you have a very interesting IoT application, with KNX, something that's innovative. And I thought we could chat for a few minutes about that innovation. First of all, can you tell me a little bit about Kumux and how you came together? Because you have a university background, if I remember.
Yes, definitely. Actually, we are a spin-off from the University of Barcelona of Physics. The company born by 3 doctors. Actually, one of them is our CTO. And actually, the interaction started with Jesus from KNX, and one of our workers have a lot of has been super close with KNX. That is Leticia, and that's something. And besides, KNX is the biggest standard over Europe. And our goal is to be integrated on the control system. So actually the KNX ecosystem, it's for Kumux, the bread and butter.
the bread and butter and the whole sandwich.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Xavier. Yeah. Now, but you're also, you have this very interesting application regarding smart lighting. Can you describe that to us?
Definitely. Actually, Kumux is a software suite that we work with a major control system to control any lighting fixture. Our goal is to bring health, and our mission is to bring health through the artificial light. Today, we spend 90% of our time in indoor spaces, and something that it has in common, all those indoor spaces, is artificial light. Artificial light, it affects us physically and emotionally. But today, thanks to the ecosystem of hardware ecosystem that there is controls and there is lighting fixtures. And what we are willing is to control the controls to bring health through light. So we have developed the ChatGPT of the lighting, of the artificial light, to bring health automatically in a very simple way to any lighting fixture at any control. So in different verticals,
any lighting
we can
fixture
provide
in any
solutions.
console.
Yeah, there you go.
And you mentioned ChatGPT, so I'm assuming there's some artificial intelligence in this. Maybe you could zero in on that for us.
Yeah, actually, we have been working on our pitch, and this idea, it comes from a Italian sales manager that he's great, Giovanni, and he mentioned, after heard our speech, he mentioned, it looks like you are the ChatGPT of the light, and I take for me, because at the end it explains quite easy. At the end, what we have is a lot of algorithms to simplify something that is quite complex. We take into account illuminance levels, vertical, horizontal, because we believe that the artificial light, has to be adapted to the space, to the concrete space, because we need to consider the orientation, we need to consider the height of the ceiling, we need to consider the standards like building standard that is following melanopic equivalent daylight. So here there is a lot of calculations that you have to do on the fly in order to adapt the light to the activity that we play. Because one of the things that we consider is that we need to adapt the artificial light to the activity that we play. And it's not the same what we play in a hospital, than in an elderly care, than in an office, than in a school. So what we provide is this data that it's super easy to integrate, to embed it in a control system, to simply adapt the dynamism of the artificial light to the exact place and bring these health properties. So we base also our algorithms on the concrete exact places. It means that we use studies for offices that can improve the productivity by 4.5%. We use studies that supports to reduce the number of falls by 40% on the elderly cares. We use studies that improve the students' performance by 20% on the schools. Or we use studies that help to reduce the painkillers at the hospitals by 20%. So this is a lot of data that is changing every 10 minutes, every day, 365 days. So the injection of this data, it's through the control system, but it's cloud-to-cloud solution. And another question that many people ask, it can be standalone? Can be standalone. We have solution standalone, because some of the projects that we delivered last year, especially on hospitals, they are willing to not have access to the cloud for security reasons, and we can solve that.
Okay. So you have a software product. It's driven by intelligent algorithms. It's very beneficial, because I think most people today are aware of how important lighting is, particularly if you're in Northern Europe. With our weather, we're very aware of how important lighting is. And the opportunity for KNX installers and integrators. You mentioned it could be standalone, but what is the most common way that, for example, if I'm working with a senior care center, what is the most common way I bring your solution to the senior care center? Is it in a bundle with a hardware? Is it, you can offer standalone or into existing operations, I believe.
Yeah, let's start by the beginning. Let's say that we can provide a support on the different stage of the Riva project. Let's say on a project, we start by the
Okay.
concept, and then there is different stages. The stage that you are is the number 7 because it's just the deployment on the site. But we can support any our, let's say, our algorithms can help to explain to the owner of the building what will be the benefits of the dynamic lighting or the artificial light into their space that they are going to live. So this is something that we can provide at the beginning. But talking at the end, today, this logic is the logic that the integrators are creating. And I haven't, there is some that, but there is a few percentage of integrators that has a background on physics, on science, that
Right.
can help them or can be able to deliver a solution that can be adaptive. So actually, this logic, it helps straightforward to them to simplify first, to bring that benefits, and second, to play a big data set into a control system in a very simple way. So it's a matter of better performance, and on the other side, to reduce the time on the integration.
It sounds like a wonderful, solution to present, and an opportunity for the integrators who are otherwise providing other services. And why not, add one more enlightened service, if we might. So I just wanted to get back to the bread and butter of the KNX ecosystem, because we are on KNX Dialogue. And I wanted to ask what aspect is the butter of the bread? What is the best part of the experience for you?
Actually, what I believe is that there is a lot of this is an hyper mega trend about services through the ecosystem on KNX. I believe this is something that is going to be growing, and the interoperability, that is a nice word that today is very popular through the whole ecosystem of your companies, hardware companies that are on KNX ecosystem. It's something that I do believe it will be more and more and more important. And this is something that at the end, it's what KNX is bringing to the market. This interoperability, it makes much more easy to work through different hardwares, through different service. And this added value that KNX is building, that is this API. So I encourage any control system, any hardware manufacturer that is hearing this conversation between Bob and myself, that it's willing to start to work with this API, because in the end, it will be beneficial for the whole ecosystem. It will simplify
everybody
the way of develop and deploy new projects. So definitely for us, this way of thinking to simplify the process through a whole big number of companies, definitely I believe is the future, and definitely I believe it's for us the bread and butter, because it simplifies a lot our integration, because at the end, all the control system has, let's say, differentiation between one to the other. But if you're an ecosystem like KNX, it simplifies a lot your life.
Well, there's a lot to be said for simplification in the integration business. Xavier, thank you very much for sharing with us today, and I appreciate you contributing here to the KNX Dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.